Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I got some more propaganda from Southwest Florida police and sheriffs, and the reason why it's so bad here, you know who told me how bad it is here? This is a guy that I know, ex-cop from Miami, and you know it's already bad over there. But at least over there, if you are bad, you can be sued, busted, jailed, and etc. And he ran for Collier County Sheriff, and we talked the other day because it's just getting so bad over here. It's 21st District Court that with the cops and the sheriffs that is disgustingly corrupt. He literally said it like this. He said this is like in the old days of the Mississippi where it was just freaking flat out uncontrolled, corrupt. The cops did what they want. They used their dogs to do unspeakable things on people, and mainly blacks. And this really fits in with the Northport Police Department. And the reason why they're going big time into doing this propaganda crap with, that we're like Santa Claus, we give, is because I'm going to look for the video too. I'll attach it to this if I can find it. There's 10,000 videos on the channel, so it's hard to find stuff. They have 4 lawsuits against them right now for dog mauls. It is disgusting. They were using the dogs to do ungodly damage, and almost every time too, a lot of this damage they would do to people with dogs too is, literally cost $75,000 to $100,000 plus in medical bills. It's insane. So that's why they're being sued by 4 different people for, excessive force with the dog. It's insane. I did find out about this. It is bad enough to where I believe all insurance companies dropped them and they are self-insured now. Supposedly the word is that a lot of the cops that were abusing and using these dogs and people for stuff just because they're sick freaking sadists are gone or moved. A lot of those dogs that had the taste of blood, you got to move and get rid of them too, because once they get the taste of blood, it's, oh my God, wow. So so this is the Northport Police Department. They freaking hate me because I for a while I was helping some people out there bring out the corruption, and they blocked me from their Facebook. They don't believe in free speech, so I've already been blocked on that. But here you go. Here's the propaganda. So you see this crap right here, giving out gifts. Well, I'm sorry. Operation Santa Surprise, helping neighbors. Really, if you want to help neighbors, quit enforcing unconstitutional, victimless crime bullcrap. And gee, let me guess too. You're hugging this kid because you busted his dad. He's in jail. You took all of his money with fines. And now I can't afford a present for you. If you want to do a real, Christmas thing for him, quit messing with people and road pirates and victimless crimes, and that would be more of a gift of Christmas. And so they had Fox 13 News out there to make sure people knew that, hey, we're Santa Claus. We get, and you've seen multiple other videos I'm doing here now too. They don't give, they take, man, period. And they take in multiple ways. They take with their taxes. They they take away your rights. They fine you. They harass you. They violate your 4th Amendment, 1st Amendment. There's court. There's probation. It's just, and then the pay, benefits, and retirement for these people is outrageous, unrealistic. It is unsustainable. So that's why they're doing this stuff. They're trying to make themselves look good again, but sorry, it's too late. It was so bad there that too, I even had a city council member call me and say, how do I start a community COPWATCH group? Because I guess it sounded like it's almost like the cops are saying like, okay, we should pick the people that's in it. And I'm like, are you freaking nuts? Dude, they're gonna pick police state people that believe in their bull crap. So I was like, this is gonna be homegrown, um, and everything. And last time I heard, they still didn't do it. So, and there you get Operation Santa surprise. They're not Santa, man. Really? When did you get pulled over by one of these cops and say, Merry Christmas, you get no ticket, and I just wasted your time violating your rights for victimless stuff? Like, when you ask him, what'd you pull me over? Oh, you got a tail light out. Okay, so that's one reason for you to violate the rest of my rights while you're sitting here talking to me, and etc. And you're wasting my time. And then you're going to say, I need to get a dog to search your car. And then you're going to say, well, if you don't want me to search your car, that means you're hiding something. It's just, oh, it's insane. I mean, it's un-American. The Founding Fathers did not want this. In fact, they fought for us. The British police did way less than what they're doing now. What we have now is they have far surpassed what the Nazis did, and it is really, really sad. But look at this propaganda. I mean, Operation Santa. Wow, really? How many people and lives did you F over for your victimless crimes? Only 10% or less. All they are supposed to do is help with crime scenes, help figure out crimes if there was a real crime against somebody, something was stolen or somebody was, hurt by another. It's not supposed to be all this victimless road pirate bull crap like we're going to pull you over because the light was out on your license plate, so we're going to pull you over and violate all your rights because we're basically fishing. Because we're basically, it's illegal to have quotas, but it's real, it's happening. I know, because now they call it expectations. The expectation is you got to pull over so many people and F with them, giving out so many tickets. And then, I'm reminding you guys, too, is that you are the new industry here. Down here, all we have is snowbirds. Okay, that's one of the service industry for snowbirds. We don't have any factories. So guess what the industry is? You are the industry. They get to hire all the cops to mess with you, to pull you over. What they love too is that, especially with the snowbirds, man, they love it because they know that they don't want to deal with it, so that if they pull them over and give them a ticket, they just want to pay it and get it over with. It's really disgusting, sick. But I had to point it out, and you've seen I've done multiple videos of it because they are trying so hard to make themselves look better, but I'm sorry, it's not going to work. You screwed with way too many people, period. I mean, just look at this. I mean, just try and, oh, look, I'm going to give a coloring book. What? Why are you going to give him a coloring book? Did you just pull over his dad and ruin his life for a victimless crime? Does this kid realize that as soon as he's old enough to do something wrong, because everything's illegal and you are not free, you're going to start busting him left and right, and then you're going to violate him probation, and then the endless cycle begins and starts and never ends until you move or leave. So here, Santa again, this is, oh, we're good. Oh, she's crying. How many people are crying because you freaking busted them for BS? Interview them. Interview the people at the court. Say, hey, how much did you like it that we just effed you over? Now you got to come to court. You got to spend time doing that. Take time off from work. Pay a fine. Then you're on probation, and then you ended up jail. How many? Let's do pictures and video of that. Why aren't you doing that? Well, the reason why you're not doing that is because it would not look good. This is how sick it is here too. Rock with the cop. Oh man, well, here you go. We're trying to make ourselves look so much better that now we're going to have a show. Rock with the cop. It is disgusting indoctrination, propaganda down here. I just wanted to point it out to you guys. It's bad. This is that BS shop with the cop thing down here. Unbelievable. Really, you want to help out people? Quit effing with people with your road piratism, your victimless crime bull crap. No victim, no crime. Also remember too, jury nullification. If it goes to court and you guys think that this is bull crap, they're out of control, it's a stupid charge, you can vote to nullify. which basically lets a person off the hook. That's how we get rid of prohibition. So many people were sick of the war on alcohol, they just kept jury nullification. And the courts finally, and then the whole country had to get rid of prohibition because it didn't work. It made it worse. Uh, and then a bit of news I'm going to do in another video. He kept this secret, and the reason why he kept this secret, this is insane. I didn't find that. This is not on the Punta Gorda Police's page, and now I know why they kept it secret, because this is insane. This is how disgusting corrupt it is here. Read this. Chief Vespi elected for Vice President of Southwest Florida Police Chief Association. Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis, this guy right here, named President. Okay, I want you to know about this guy right here. We're gonna put this finger right up his nose. This is the same guy from Punta Gorda we've been doing videos on that had the guy hired with that dog. The cop pulled a guy over for no light on his bicycle, and then he let the dog maul the guy for no light on his bicycle. Then they didn't fire that cop, and then that cop executed a lady in a class where she's learning to be a wannabe cop, and he still didn't fire the cop, and that cop is still on paid leave. And they just made this police chief, what are they making Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis named President of the freaking Southwest Florida Chiefs Association. Oh my God. This also is the same guy, we got his personnel file on IA reports, who when divorced was so pissed, let's put it up his other nostril, that he stalked and harassed his wife, ex-wife, and all of her friends, on duty, off duty, and he even had some of his people do the work for him too, doing this. He was busted for it, and they still made him police chief. And now they made him president of the Southwest Florida Police Chiefs Association. Are you disgusted yet? I am.
I would have rather them tased me with the biggest taser they had than sick that dog on me.
Northport Police Department, recorded line. This is James. How can I help you?
Hey, James. Michael up in Sarasota. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Hey, we're responding to a suicide attempt.
I just tried to cut my wrists, and I was hit an artery and pretty much was bleeding out. I walked to the back after my mother said she was going to call the cops. So I started walking towards the back of the house in the yard, and I just collapsed because too much blood was running out. I vaguely remember them saying, "Show me your hand." I would have rather them tased me with the biggest taser they had than sick that dog on me.
Years of Chinese music and dance in one night. Incredible, groundbreaking, a cultural phenomenon. Experience Shen Yun, coming to Venice Performing Arts Center, February 10th through 12th.
I would have rather them tased me with the biggest taser they had than sick that dog on me.
Northport Police Department, recorded line. This is James. How can I help you?
Hey, James. Michael up in Sarasota. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Hey, we're responding to a suicide attempt.
I just tried to cut my wrists, and I was hit an artery and pretty much was bleeding out. I walked to the back after my mother said she was going to call the cops. So I started walking towards the back of the house in the yard, and I just collapsed because too much blood was running out. I vaguely remember them saying, "Show me your hands," vaguely, and there was no way I could do it. So I don't know if they thought I was not listening to them or whatever. But as soon as they brought me out of a induced coma, I could feel the pain. That it felt like it was cramping and like burning. They told me that I had an infection underneath and it was spreading, and that the only way they could do it was by an open incision, and then they would have to get all the bacteria out, and you can't close up a dog wound because the infection will just stay in there, so I had to leave it open. I really can't lift heavy things anymore because they had to cut through my stomach muscle, and they say that it'd probably take about 8 months for it to heal, so I can't really lift anything over 10 pounds, and if I stretch, it feels like I'm going to rip it open again, and you know, it's just always sore and painful, and it didn't need to happen.
Law enforcement. Second suit against K9 unit settled. 2 more dog bite cases pending trial. By Earl Kimmel. Earl.Kimmel@heraldtribune.com. Northport, the second of 4 federal lawsuits filed against the city of Northport involving an allegation of brutality by the police department's K9 unit was settled this fall, while 2 others are on track for jury trials in 2017 and 2018. Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust, the city's former insurance company, agreed in September to settle a lawsuit by Danielle Drake that involved a June 17, 2014 incident in which she was bitten in the head by K9 Tommy, an 80-pound Belgian Malinois police dog. She was walking down a neighborhood street following a spat with her boyfriend when Northport Police K9 handler Keith Bush, under the impression she had been involved in a hit-and-run accident earlier that night, used Tommy to apprehend Drake. The settlement payment involved the sum of $35,000 plus other considerations. Drake's case was one of several detailed in a July 2015 Herald Tribune investigation of allegations of brutality by the Northport Police K9 team. A suit by Lewis and Natasha Langston and their son Tyler Langston, who was 17 when he was attacked by Tommy on New Year's Day, 2014, was settled last December for $50,000 and other considerations. In that case as well, Preferred Governmental settled the suit. Northport did not admit fault in either settlement agreement. The city's former insurer, PRM, elected to settle their claim without litigation, Northport Police Chief Kevin Vespia said in a prepared statement. The Northport Police Department has not been found guilty of any wrongdoing. We're thankful everyone involved can put this issue to rest. So far, the city's insurance company has paid $85,000 to settle suits stemming from complaints against the K-9 unit. Pending possible settlement agreements, 2 more lawsuits against the city could be headed for jury trials, one next September and one in January 2018. The first lawsuit was by a plaintiff identified by the Herald Tribune in June 2014 only by his first name, Mark, because police officers had responded to a potential suicide call. Mark said he had slit his own wrists and was found by Tommy in a wooded area behind his mother's house. Mark claims he was near death when Northport officers found him, yet Bush ordered the dog to bite him in the stomach. That case is tentatively scheduled for September 5, 2017, before Judge Charlene Edwards Honeywell in District Court in Tampa. The other suit, by plaintiff Jared LeMay, stems from a July 2012 incident, when LeMay, then 18, unarmed and hiding in a trash can in his garage, was bitten in the face and backed by police dog Como, under the direction of his canine handler Michael Dietz. In that incident Bush, who also was responding to the scene, massaged Dietz, "Come get her bite," and followed up with him, "Gonna take her bite if you don't hurry up." That case is scheduled for mediation on June 21, 2017 and tentatively scheduled for trial January 2, 2018. Information from the Herald Tribune archives was used in this report. A doctor used 34 stitches to close the bite wounds a Northport police dog opened on Danielle Drake's face in 2014.
Okay, Google, turn on the hall lights.
Okay, Google, turn up the music. Okay, Google, what's the weather?
2 babies train.
How do you say nice to meet you in Spanish?
Okay, Google, dim the downstairs lights.
I could hear the dog chewing and eating my muscle tissue, the tendon, the ligament. I could hear him just eating the stuff. It was the most, you just don't even understand how helpless I was. On several occasions they were showing up at the door, and they were always saying they were doing an investigation, and it had to do with my ex-girlfriend making up these false allegations. And they were buying into her stories, and they just kept showing up. First couple times we talked to them. Then after that they'd be showing up in the middle of the night, banging on our doors, shining flashlights in it. It seemed like every week I was like walking on pins and needles, wondering what these guys were doing here. I was sleeping, and then, I heard the banging on the door, and I'm thinking, here, they're up to their old tricks again, and they're out there, and I believe they stayed out there for about 2 or 3 hours in the driveway, and they got on a loudspeaker, and they were saying, "Step outside," this and that, but they had been harassing me for so long. It's like I didn't know what to believe with these people. I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, so I decided to stay in my bedroom. I just stayed in my bedroom. All I remember is finally I heard the door get cracked in the breach, and the alarm system went off. So I knew they were in here. So immediately, I turned my light on in my room so they can see me, and I open up the door, and I put my hands above my head, just like this. You know, as I see him coming around the hallway, there's a shotgun pointed at me, another guy's got a gun pointed at me. So I laid down on my bed, face down on the bed, put my hands behind my back. I got 2 sets of handcuffs on me, and that's when those officers just started beating the hell out of me. And then after they got done with that, this was what really did it. They let the dog chew and rip my leg apart. And the dog stayed on my leg while I was screaming in agony to get the dog off of me for at least 60 seconds, and they just let it chew.
Years of Chinese music and dance in one night. Incredible, groundbreaking, a cultural phenomenon. Experience Shen Yun, coming to Venice Performing Arts Center, February 10th through 12th.
Well, I have 3 young children that they know what happened to Daddy with the big wound on my leg. They're totally terrified of dogs. I've told them it's okay. Every dog ain't like that. I was at a party with a friend and my brother, and I got drunk, and me and my brother almost got into a fight, into a ruckus, and I left walking because I was too drunk to drive. So I was walking down the road and trying to go home, and was on the phone with my wife, and my phone died, telling her to come get me, but my phone died, and that's the last I can remember. I came to a little bit while I was on the floor and was in extreme amount of pain, and I remember screaming, and I knew I was in pain, and then my eyes just rolled in the back of my head and I was out again. I was in the hospital, woke up in pain, screaming and crying. I climbed towers for a living, and I was out of work for 8 months trying to recover, and walking around with a wound back on my leg, and out of work for 8 months, and I had 3 children to take care of. I haven't even been able to even think about paying back that medical bill. It's up there in the 20,000s, and yeah, I mean, we struggle.
Scarred, Bite Stories reveal darker side of Northport's award-winning police canine team by Michael Scott Davidson, Herald Tribune/Sunday, July 12, 2015. A doctor used 34 stitches to close the bite wounds a Northport police dog opened on Danielle Drake's face. Police Chief Kevin Vespia later told the Northport Sun newspaper the young woman had been nipped. Photo provided by Danielle Drake. A doctor used 34 stitches to close the bite wounds a Northport police dog opened on Danielle Drake's face. Police Chief Kevin Vespia later told the Northport Sun newspaper the young woman had been nipped. Photo provided by Danielle Drake. Northport, the attack haunts Danielle Drake like a recurring nightmare. On a late June night in 2014, Drake said, she was walking alongside a neighborhood street, lost in thought after an argument with her boyfriend at his nearby home, when something hit her from behind. She was knocked face first into the pavement. The next thing she remembers was a massive dog tearing into her head, saturating her blonde hair with blood and opening wounds across her left temple that took more than 30 stitches to close. "There was so much blood I thought I had cracked my head open," said Drake, now 20, who was employed as a senior caregiver. "I was crying, screaming in pain." Northport police records show Drake was suspected of being involved in a hit-and-run accident that occurred earlier that night. When police spotted her, officers reported, she ran and hid behind a bush. Then, they said, Drake ran face first into an 80-pound police dog named Tommy. Scarred Project homepage. Drake, who was not charged in the case and has no criminal record, disputes that narrative. Her attorneys have notified city leaders that she will file a federal lawsuit against Northport, accusing its officers of excessive force. Northport touts its police canine program as an elite, award-winning unit that competes in regional and national field trials and has brought home a slew of trophies. But a Herald Tribune investigation found that Northport's police dogs bit at least 34 people from 2010 through 2014, more than the combined number of bites reported by the police canine units of neighboring municipalities Sarasota, Bradenton, Palmetto, Venice and Punta Gorda during the same period. Click graphic to enlarge. Click graphic to enlarge. Database, Municipal Police Department Canine Bite Records. Northport handlers commanded their police dogs to attack unarmed juveniles and citizens whom police did not have sufficient evidence to charge with a crime. In at least 2 cases, police dogs bit unarmed, suicidal citizens. And they have department policies on their side. Northport's police canine policies state canines may assist in the pursuit, apprehension or prevent the escape of a person reasonably believed to have committed a crime. That is an uncommon amount of leeway when compared to model policies set forth by the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Under Northport's permissive policies, its police administrators who reviewed 27 bites inflicted from 2012 through 2014 found that the canine handlers and their dogs acted within department policy in each case. The one bite that was marked for further investigation resulted in a written reminder for a canine handler to maintain control of his canine at all times. But in interviews, 5 city residents bitten by police dogs disputed the details in officers' reports of their attacks. All said that Northport's police canines maimed them. One man bitten in the leg claims he can no longer walk without pain. Another with a stomach puncture wound that became infected said he is in agony if he lifts 10 pounds above his head. Drake said she is plagued by migraines that last for days and memories that will not fade. "Sometimes I get flashbacks to wiping blood off my face," she said. Drake and others who have been bitten say they are left with more than scars, debilitating injuries and emotional trauma. They also face crushing medical bills for which they are responsible, even though some were never charged with a crime. After analyzing more than 2,500 pages of police records, the Herald Tribune discovered that 37% of apprehensions made by Northport's police canine unit from 2010 through 2014 ended with a dog attack. Key findings: 37% of apprehensions made by Northport's police canine unit from 2010 through 2014 ended with a dog attack. Share this. Charles Meslow is a former Venice Police Department canine handler and one of the nation's leading researchers of the use of police dogs. Charles Meslow is one of the nation's leading researchers of the use of police dogs. That exceeds the 30% threshold that American law enforcement agencies use to monitor their canine units' performance for potential misconduct, said Charles Meslow, a former Venice Police Department canine handler and one of the nation's leading researchers of the use of police dogs. At the Herald Tribune's request, Meslow reviewed data about Northport's canine unit. "I can't imagine dog bites like this happening so frequently without someone noticing," said Meslow, now an interim dean at Northern Michigan University. "It's the basic indicator that there might be something amiss." Northport police records show that more than half of the department's bites in the last 5 years are attributed to police canine Tommy, the 5-year-old Belgian Malinois that bit Drake. Of the 4 suspects injured by Northport's canines from January through May of this year, Tommy has bitten 3. In 2014, 12 people were treated at local hospitals after being bitten by a Northport police dog. It was a 5-year high for the department. Northport Police Chief Kevin Vespia declined an interview about the Herald Tribune's findings, citing pending litigation against the city. His department issued a written statement regarding the paper's investigation. According to the statement, the police department has reviewed all current legal authority and found that its canine teams have acted in accordance within the law and in keeping with best practices. Canine usage by our department is a result of the types of situations we encounter, the statement read. Northport has a much different terrain and demographics than even our immediate neighbors. The tens of thousands of wooded lots are tempting to those who want to run from the law. Troubled department. The city of Northport could be a case study for how growth has changed Florida. In the 1950s, the city was conceived and platted by the General Development Corporation, which sold lots to workers in the Northeast as retirement and second homes. Blessed with abundant land and cheaper home prices in neighboring cities Venice, Sarasota and Fort Myers, Northport developed so rapidly that it is now the most populous city in Sarasota County, home to more than 55,000 residents. But with the growth came growing pains, particularly for the city's police department. A legacy of leniency, a Herald Tribune investigation published last year, found that 19 Northport officers have been investigated 3 or more times over a period of 18 years for offenses ranging from conduct unbecoming an officer to burglary. In 2014, a veteran Northport officer committed suicide as sheriff's deputies came to arrest him in a sexual battery case. On the surface, Northport's police dog unit appears to be an exception to the force's shortcomings. Never numbering more than a handful of officers, the unit has won more than 20 awards at regional and national police dog field trials in recent years. On patrol, the canine's acute senses of smell and hearing are used to track people, search buildings and apprehend suspects. They can find drugs and weapons hidden from sight. Police Chief Vespia and Assistant Chief Anthony Siriani have repeatedly stated Northport's canine teams travel along the path of excellence. But internal affairs records tell a different story. In the past 5 years, 2 of Northport's canine handlers have resigned amid internal investigations. A third was removed from the canine unit last year and resigned Thursday. Bush Rice Dietz from Northport 960 Northport Police Department canine handlers Sean Rice, left, Keith Bush and Michael Dietz pose with their partners. Only Bush, 28, remains on the unit. Dietz, 39, resigned from the force after he was arrested for battering his fiancée. Rice, 34, was removed from the canine unit after an internal investigation determined he kissed a 16-year-old girl. City of Northport photo. Officer Michael Dietz, 39, resigned after he was arrested in March for battering his fiancée. The 12-year department veteran was found guilty after pleading no contest. He recently began a year-long probation. In 2008, Northport canine trainer and handler Noel Coward, 49, was disciplined after hitting a man at a bar during the Super Bowl. Reinstated to the force on the condition he stopped drinking, Coward resigned in 2012 after an internal investigation determined he had violated the zero-tolerance policy while at a U.S. Police Canine Association event. He had been with the department for 19 years and a canine handler for Northport as early as 1995. Record show. Sean Rice, 34, was removed from the canine unit last August after he kissed a 16-year-old girl who was a member of the department's Police Explorer program for students. He resigned July 9 amid an internal investigation, according to the police department. As a result of the dismissal and resignations, the canine unit's most veteran member, Officer Keith Bush, 28, has 4 years of experience as a police canine handler. City records indicate that he has never been the subject of a formal complaint or discipline. Northport's number of police